COVID-19, vaccinations or testing in the workplace, mandates, and much more. My guest today, Phil Dubois from Workplace Screening Intelligence, breaks it down for us today on the HR and Leadership Spotlight Show. Phil, welcome to the show today. I'm excited to have you. Workplace Screening Intelligence is the name of your company, and I want to get into that in just a couple of minutes. But did you bring anything for us today?
Yes, I did, Chuck.
Tell me about it.
Well, this is a mug from my son. And believe it or not, he gave this to me when he was 10 years old. And this is just a token of all of the coffee mugs that my kids have given me over the years. And they all hold a special place in my heart because this is from Dave & Buster's. And I don't know if you've ever been to Dave & Buster's. It's kind of like a casino for kids. They go there, they play these machines and they get all kinds of tokens. And my son has mastered these machines, so different from my childhood. When he goes on YouTube and he figures out how to beat these machines. And it's just crazy. So he gets as a 10-year-old boy, he gets all of his points and everything else, and he goes to buy his stuff. And who does he buys this for me, So he gave his points up for me, which I thought was pretty incredible. And the same with my daughter. She's gone on school trips to Stone Mountain, and it's tough to bring a coffee mug back, but every single time it's large, it's something kind of special, and it holds a lot of coffee, which they know I like my coffee. So it makes me feel good.
That's a great story. I love that is one heck of a large coffee mug. And I know someone made a comment on that at the BNI meeting, Business Network International meeting this morning that we were in. And that's an amazing large coffee mug. So Phil, tell me, Workplace Screening Intelligence. Who are you? What do you do? It's a very timely topic, especially as we are sitting here in November 2021. Vaccine mandates, vaccine COVID-19 screenings. But I know you do more than that. But just tell us what's going on with Workplace Screening Intelligence.
Well, Workplace Screening Intelligence, I am the CEO and founder of this company. And what we do is we help employers have solutions to safe, productive, and healthy workplaces. And we do that through testing, drug testing, COVID testing. And of course, COVID testing is the hottest thing going right now. So we go to employers' sites that want to test. There's many employers today that are testing before this new Biden vaccine or test mandate starts. And several of them are testing their new employees. And then several of them are only testing their unvaccinated employees. They want to try to make their workplace as safe as possible. And so we go on site to do the testing, or they send them to our site in Central Florida.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how did you get into that? So tell us a little bit about Phil Dubois. Well, how did he get into that?
It's interesting because, I graduated from college with a finance degree at the University of Central Florida. And I decided to stay here in Orlando. I'm a true Floridian, born and raised in Daytona Beach, and moved here to go to UCF, and then decided to stay in this area. I just loved it so much. So as I said, I had a finance degree. The finance just didn't really interest me. I loved how it worked and everything else, but I didn't want to be a stockbroker or anything of that sort. So I wanted to get in some kind of medical sales, and I saw an opportunity with a laboratory. And I went and interviewed, and they hired me, and it was a great fit, and I just really loved the employer screening services, mm-hmm. and how I could help employers figure out how to do the best thing. And I started right when the Florida drug-free workplace started, so it was a lot of educating. And I'm not really a sales guy; I'm an educator, and so it just fit in perfectly for me and my style. And I was able to educate all these employers on how to do that. And from there, I went to work for American Medical Labs. Soon after my first job, they were the third largest lab in the nation. And before you know it, we were acquired by Quest Diagnostics, a Fortune 500 company. I worked there for a total of 15 years, learned a lot of stuff about how to take care of employers. I tried to fight the big bureaucratic way of doing business and tried to personalize it, and I did a good job of it. I've serviced companies as large as public supermarkets, as small as a single owner operator trucking company, and many in between. And it all comes down to helping them figure out the solution to how they want to have a safe, healthy, and productive workplace.
Sure.
And so again, just doing that. And then I also went to work for an equity company and helped run a employee screening services and lab company. Did that for about 10 years. And then I just really decided that even as an owner, although I was a smaller percentage owner, I really didn't get to do it the way that I wanted to. It was done the way the equity company wanted it to be done. And I just really wanted to open up my own opportunity to do it my way, to help employers, empower them with the ability to get their employees to the right place where they want it to be.
Okay. So the big deal now, though, is COVID-19 screening, and you go on site and you do that. I know you're really plugged into the new vaccine mandate laws, but tell me about on-site screening and what types of companies are doing that, and why? Why would someone do on-site screening? Because there's so many free opportunities now, right? I could go to Orange County, I could go stand in line, and I could get a free screening. But why are companies bringing you on board? What's going on with that?
So companies are bringing me on board because they want the convenience. Okay, so obviously your employees can go stand in line for an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours at the free testing location, but that's 2 or 3 hours that they're out of the workplace. They have to drive there, they have to drive back, and everything else. We just go right to the site and we test, ever how many new employers, ever how many vaccinated employees, and every employer is different. So I think eventually it's going to come to the point where each and every employer will have to do whatever the mandate comes out once it comes out of the courts. So, but today, the employers that are doing it, they're concerned about safety of their workplace. They don't want COVID to take over their workplace. And believe me, some of these companies have had that traumatic experience where it took out half of their workforce and were barely able to survive. And some of them are just doing it because they believe it's the right thing to do. And they want to keep the health and safety of their employees first and foremost.
Okay, so talk to me about the vaccine mandate and how that affects or enhances your business model. I mean, there's so many questions I have regarding everything going on regarding testing and vaccinations. Why don't you just jump in and fill in all the blanks for me, Phil? Fill in the blanks, Phil.
Okay. I'm happy. I'm happy to do that. I'm glad you didn't say fill up, because that's what was my joke as a kid. Everyone would always say, "Fill it up, Phil." So so we're in good shape. But anyways, I think the bottom line is for this 490-page OSHA mandate that is done by the Biden administration. It's basically trying to keep workplaces safe. And for you and your audience, HR professionals, the one thing that they have to understand is that this 490-page document is mandating two things. One, you either have a vaccine policy that all your employees must be vaccinated, or alternatively, you have a testing policy where you allow employees that are non-vaccinated to come into your workplace, but you have to test them weekly. So either way, HR professionals that you're helping or that need your help are going to need one of those two policies. And as you know, policies are probably the most important thing that an employer needs in the HR realm of things. So so that is the mandate in a nutshell. But if you need some good reading, 490 pages, you won't find better reading. I can promise you that. Now, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You did that. You read that. So
I did.
Did you use that to put you to sleep, or do you love that stuff so much it kept you energized?
Well, I love it only because I find this to be fascinating. I think our society is a little bit polarized. 50% of the people believe that everybody should be vaccinated and just get it done. The other 50% of the people believe something else other than that. And so I found it to be interesting only because they spent a lot of time I'm going to use the word selling or educating why they were doing this, why they think it's going to be legal, and how they came to the point of 100 employees and as one part of what they were trying to communicate. So I found it to be interesting how they went about it and how they literally came up with a plan based on 100 employees or more.
Yeah. Wow. So tell me more about how the services you're providing and how I guess companies have to start preparing, right? Because if they're not going to do, employees are not going to get vaccinated, companies have to do testing once a week. And how can you help companies out in regard to that?
Well, I think in two ways. What the employers are going to have to do are two main things after they get their policies taken care of. Okay. Once they make that decision, number one, two is come up with a policy, and three is manage the procedures. So there's two ways. So let's say they have the policy of vaccine mandates. They have to collect every single person's vaccination card. Okay, and vaccination records. And then it goes into details, all of the stuff that they can accept. So we have a company that we work with that has an app. Okay, and this app allows the company or the employee to upload the vaccination information in there. And so once it expires, or if a rule comes out that says, hey, after 1 year you have to get a booster, it's going to automatically put a red light on any person that doesn't meet the criteria. Also red lighted is anybody that, if the company chooses mandatory vaccines, it's going to red light anybody that hasn't uploaded their vaccine. Okay, so that's to say Charlie goes to work, and along with Mary and Bobby, Mary and Bobby go in, they show their green light to the person at the front, they walk in the door. The other guy hasn't done it. So what happens is they get the red light and they're not allowed to come in. So then, yeah, exactly. So
no, that's fascinating. That's a fascinating use of technology.
Yes,
and entrepreneurial too.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, when this is a company that I've worked with as a provider, as a customer, as a provider of services to them through labs and everything else. And when he told me about the technology, I'm like, this is unbelievable. This is going to be revolutionize what employers need help with. So I'm happy to be partnering with him in his platform to the employers. So it will really be good to be able to provide a solution that makes it easier. And then, of course, the employer will have the ability to also go on at any time and see who is green lighted and who is red lighted. Mm-hmm. And so they're able to address those situations. And then secondly, if the company chooses to do the testing solution instead of the mandatory vaccines, and I'll tell you, employers are all over the place. You know, I've got employers that say, why don't these people just get vaccinated? And I've got employers that are like, well, we can't afford to lose any employees. So we're not going to do that. And then we have the others that just say that, hey, it's not the right thing to do to mandate this vaccine. So everybody's all over the place and how they think. And so we have all of those customers and we help them with the solution. So for those that choose to do the testing route, it will also have the ability to upload their results. And at the same way, if the employee's been tested, because the employee has to be tested every 7 days, if somewhere along the line the employee doesn't get tested within that 7 days, they're red lighted. So when they come in, they show their pass, it's not going to allow them to come in because they're red lighted because they didn't do their test within 7 days.
Okay. And so workplace screening intelligence, I know you're based in Central Florida, but you do work throughout the country. I know you personally have flown out and done organizations,
correct,
meetings, conventions, haven't you?
Christmas. We have the most interesting one that I found is we have a Christmas party for 300 people. And this company is very, very want safe and a healthy workplace. So they don't want to have a Christmas party where the whole company gets shut down because people are spreading COVID. So we're going to test all the employees and their guests that are coming to the Christmas party. And, that we got sports teams that we test and everything else. It's just, it's really dynamic what the type of service that we've been able to offer to such a diverse group of individuals.
Sure. So you do, it's, I guess, an instant test, correct? So that's kind of the setup. Everyone comes in, they go through.
Yeah. So we have several. It's really what the employer wants. Most employers, they want the instant test, the rapid antigen, because it tests for current infection. It's most of them are right around 96% effective, or quality assurance, quality controls. You have a 96% part in making sure that it's done correctly. The other test is the PCR test, and that's a test that goes to a lab. Okay, and it is 99.2% effective. And, it's kind of hard for me to say that because in my entire life of doing testing, if a test was a molecular test, it's 100% because it's the molecular fingerprint. And so you saw I stumbled over the 99 because it's just in my mind, it's just like, well, how can you do a 99.2% when it's supposed to be 100% molecular? So no test is perfect is what the FDA is saying. So the bottom line is some employers do want to have that PCR test because they believe it's much more accurate. But statistically speaking, 96% is going to do a great job. And if they ever have anybody who is positive, that I have a lot of employers that say immediately do a PCR test. We do that immediately and they get the results back in 24 to 36 hours. Soon I'll be able to do an instant PCR test for them as well. So some employers may choose the PCR test because it can be done instantly and they get the results back within an hour versus waiting 24 to 36 hours for the lab to return the results. So, but most choose that instant rapid antigen because they can quickly determine right away if the person is positive or not for COVID. And as you might guess, if they did the PCR test because it's 99.2% accurate, they would have the 24 hours to 36 hours having this person infecting their workplace. Yeah. So you can't do testing on Monday and then close the place down Tuesday and Wednesday, waiting for the results to come back on Wednesday night so that you can have everybody come in on Thursday. So it's the best of both worlds, and it's the statistically speaking, the easiest and best test to make sure the workplaces are done correctly. And then lastly, the other real reason is economically speaking, it's much less expensive than the PCR test. Gotcha. So they can do it more often.
Okay. So, and plus very beneficial if you're having a Christmas party or a holiday party and your guests are standing there waiting to come in. Obviously it needs to be an instant yes, result.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely. So Phil, from Workplace Screening Intelligence, have I missed anything else you want to share with our viewers and or listeners today?
Just really again, as I told you, I'm an educator. I'm happy to educate people at any time. If they have any questions about COVID, they have any questions about drug testing, how they can do it in their workplaces, I'm happy to help them at any time, answer any questions. And a lot of my customers were people that just called up and said, I got a question about COVID testing, and then they became customers. And some don't. It's exactly the way it works.
Awesome. Phil, this is great information. If folks want to get hold of you or Workplace Screening Intelligence, I'll have the information in the show notes, but why don't you tell them, how could they get hold of you?
Sure. They can call me on my personal cell phone at 321-228-7210, or they can email me at info, that's INFO, at workplacescreening.com.
All right. Phil from Workplace Screening Intelligence, thank you for being here today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the HR and Leadership Spotlight Show, sponsored by GetHRHelpNow.com, GetHRHelpNow.com. Stay safe out there.
Thank you, Chuck.
All right. Thank you, Phil.